The sun blazed down over the cracked pavement of Eastwood, a neighborhood long forgotten by the city, where dreams were small, but hearts were big. Faded murals lined the brick walls, and the sound of old basketballs thudding against rusted hoops was the music of summer. In this pocket of hardship lived 3 boys, Malik, his little brother Jamal, and their best friend Deshaun. They didn't have much, but they had each other, and that meant everything. Their days were spent in the dusty lot behind the shuttered grocery store. They made do with what they had, flattened soda cans for goalposts, old milk crates for seats, and each other for laughter and strength. But joy never lasted long in Eastwood. A group of older boys from the next block made sure of that. Led by Ricky, the self-proclaimed king of the streets, they took pleasure in making the younger kids' lives miserable. Every few days, Ricky and his gang would roll through the lot like a storm. They stole bikes, shoved the kids around, mocked their clothes, and left behind a trail of bruises, some on skin, most on pride. Malik always tried to stay calm, to shield Jamal and Deshaun, but it wasn't easy. Ricky thrived on fear, and no one dared stand up to him. Then came the day it all went too far. The boys were sitting in the lot, eating peanut butter sandwiches and sharing stories, when the gang appeared. Ricky swaggered forward, sneering as he snatched Jamal's sandwich and threw it on the ground. Deshaun tried to protest but was shoved hard to the ground. Malik stood up, fists clenched, but Ricky laughed in his face. "You think you're tough?" Ricky spat. "You think anyone cares what happens to little nobodies like you?" Then he grabbed Malik's backpack, yanked it open, and dumped everything onto the ground. Papers scattered, a pencil box cracked open, and a small, worn photo of their father fell out, landing face up in the dust. Ricky stomped on it. The frame snapped. "Oops," he grinned. Across the street, a man stepped out of a small diner. He wore a gray t-shirt, jeans, and a leather jacket. He had a clean-shaven head, a steely calm in his walk, and a sharpness in his eyes that said "Don't mess with me." He looked like he didn't belong here, but also like he belonged everywhere. It was Jason Statham. He had come to Eastwood for quiet. No cameras, no premieres, no stunt doubles. Just peace. But some habits don't retire. When he saw the fear in the kids' eyes, and the laughter of the bullies, he didn't hesitate. Jason crossed the street slowly. His steps were deliberate, calm, but firm. Ricky turned and looked him up and down, unimpressed. "Mind your business, old man." Jason didn't flinch. "This is my business." Ricky stepped forward, trying to show off in front of his crew. "You think you're some kind of hero?" Jason's voice was low. "No. But I can show you what one looks like." Ricky moved first, swinging wild. Jason sidestepped with ease, catching his wrist mid-air and twisting just enough to drop Ricky to one knee without injury. 2 others charged in, but Jason met them with smooth, clean moves, redirecting their momentum, using balance and timing rather than force. In seconds, the gang was scattered, humiliated, and dazed. But Jason didn't gloat. He looked each one in the eye. "This ends today," he said. "You're better than this. Start acting like it." They didn't argue. They limped away, their power broken, not by violence, but by someone who refused to be afraid. The boys stood frozen, their mouths half open. Jamal clutched his cracked photo. Jason walked over and picked it up, wiping the dust from the glass. "Your dad?" he asked. Malik nodded slowly. "He'd be proud of you," Jason said. They went to the diner, sat in a booth, and for the first time in a long while, the boys felt seen. Jason listened as they shared their world, no filters, no holding back. He didn't make grand speeches. He didn't promise miracles. He simply gave them something they hadn't had in a long time, his attention, and his belief in them. But he didn't stop there. That evening, Jason made some calls. He reached out to friends, quietly, behind the scenes. Within days, things started changing. A local gym announced free self-defense classes for kids. A community group cleaned up the lot and turned it into a safe play zone. Donations came in for new school supplies, bikes, and even a community tutoring program. Not because of Jason's name, but because he cared enough to start something. And more importantly, he reminded the kids that they mattered. Malik, Jamal, and Deshaun started walking a little taller. They weren't just surviving anymore, they were growing. And though Jason left the town a week later, just as quietly as he came, his presence never really left. The story spread, sure. Local news picked it up, calling it Hollywood Star Steps In. But for the boys, it wasn't about that. It was about the day someone finally stood up with them, not for them. In the end, it wasn't about a movie star saving the day. It was about 3 kids realizing that even in a broken world, courage can grow from the cracks. And sometimes, the strongest heroes are the ones who show you what you're already capable of. Message: you don't have to be famous to stand up for what's right. You just have to care enough not to look away.